Greetings, fellow statesmen. I'm Chevalier, and I bid you welcome to a small talk about the institutions and how we should abuse them or to some degree take care of them. Now, basically right now we're gonna go to speed 5. As you can see, it's 4th of January 1999. We do not care. That will actually allow us to basically take the New World idea to take the New World institution when it goes down to the 1500s, if it's gonna intervene, while I actually talk about some stuff right now. So institutions are introduced in patch 1.8 together with the Rise of Man DLC. The patch was also named Prussia for a little bit more details on that part. So institutions are basically here. So there are a total of 7 institutions, and they spread over the world. They usually start in come on, there we go. Countries that have fully embraced colonialism has not yet received an increased technology cost penalty. So basically, colonialism has started. The question is where now colonialism has started. It's probably in my lands or the lands of Portugal. If you look here, should be institutions, and colonialism starts in Portugal. Unfortunately, we didn't get an event, but it's gonna start. It's gonna spread at a set rate. If you look here, you'll see it's 2.4% each month, and once you have enough of it, you're gonna get. Once you have enough of it. You're gonna get that province, and it's gonna spread to this province here, and it's gonna take a couple of years to spread. Now, there are some modifiers that is gonna allow you to to spread it faster. The first one is being that you're at peace. The second one is being part of a state, which is also 10%, so peace and part of a state is 10%. Being a port is 10%. Being a coastal center of trade also gives you modifiers. 5% burst stability as well. There's minus 30% for being looted. Now I was being looted by the Berbers. There is also what's called. There's another one, if I'm not mistaken, modifier for what was it? For the tribal government as well. And there's that's minus 5% or something like that. And plus 5% for trading in coffee. Some modifiers were changed. There are no ideas that give you faster institution spread, at least that I know of. There might be some policies. I really haven't played that at all with institutions. But yeah, so they spread like this, and they spread by modifier. So modifiers is just basically nearby province, port province with colonialism, port or capital in New World colony homeland, plus 1.3 with the spread modifier is gonna spread to a decent amount. Now, when it actually spreads to encompass 10% of total development, also it takes into account autonomy as well, and it's gonna take a percentage of your autonomy as well per province. So let's say I have 10% overall, I'm gonna need 10% less development, so I'm gonna need 9% of my total development to basically embrace the institution. And if you see here, you can actually click the colonialism, and you're gonna basically embrace this at some point in time, right? When you have control. Right now you have 0%. If you continue to play this, you're gonna expand even more and even more. It's still 0%, 0%. Again, it's gonna take a while. I'm gonna simply run through it, and we can actually see. I do not care. So this basically expands all over Europe. Now, depending on what institution it is, the spread is going to be a little bit more problematic, simply because of the point of origin. For example, the colonialism that you see right now is going to spread slowly from Algarve all to this part here, and move and move and move and move. It's going to take a while to reach this side. It's going to be faster to get here in Fez, due to the fact that it's close, but it's gonna be really problematic for it to spread to East Europe or anything of that sort. Now this is not valid for all of these institutions, but it's valid for colonialism and some, let's say, manufacturers who usually spawn in England, depending on your luck, if you actually boost up some stuff. Anyway, let's get over all of the institutions and the actual modifiers. Now, feudalism it starts in 1066, all countries started it, except for the tribes, the sub-Saharan guys here, the guys in the New World, and the hordes. And they give you leaders without Aki +1. You have the Renaissance that give you build cost and development cost -5%. They start in Italy after the 1500s. There are some modifiers here. I'll read them out loud right now. So the modifiers are basically 1500s, either in a capital with 20 plus development, and can be embraced by nations that already have feudalism. It's quite simple. You have to have the previous institution to get the next one. Quite simple. It's gonna start in Italy, basically, like standard stuff. The colonialism is gonna start. See, we cut this. It's gonna start in. Come on. It's gonna start in a country that has the conquest for the New World and has explored the New World, and it's gonna start here. Right now, it actually started in Portugal, so as you can probably actually already saw them after the 1500s. Now, the printing press is gonna start in Germany, in the German region, or in a country that has Protestant or Reformed religion, of course. So it's gonna probably either start in Germany or perhaps in England, depending on where the Reformation went, or if the Reformation started, depending on if you can pull it off, put it off to some degree, the Reformation. Now, the next one, and it's gonna give you stability cost modifier -5%, and colonialism is gonna give you provincial trade power. Global trade power, global trade is gonna start in the 1600s. It's gonna give you +1 merchant, and it's gonna start in a country in the highest development trade node that is either a capital or it has a center of trade. So most likely it's gonna start in Genoa. So basically around this area here in Genoa trade node. The next one is manufactories, which is gonna start in a country that is part of the region of a capital, and it has development higher than 20 and has a manufacturer in it. So basically you can actually modify this to some degree so that it can spawn in your country if you are lucky enough to make sure it spawns in your country, or increase the chance that it spawns in your country. The next one and the last one is alignment, which is gonna start in a country that has a parliament and university, and a province that has parliament and university, or in a province that has over 20 development, and that country has over 555 leader, basically, which is really highly unlikely, but it can happen. Now, depending on which starts, come on, man, stop with your fucking events. Depending on what country, let's see, can I actually pull it off to actually show you this first? 6%, so it's gonna take a while. So depending on where it starts, it's gonna be problematic for expansion, as I said before. For example, you already have feudalism, but Renaissance is gonna start in Italy, and it's slowly gonna spread, because Italy is a bottleneck. It's gonna slowly build up here, but it's gonna take a while to get to Castile, for example. And of course a while to get to Poland, because usually nothing gets close to Poland or Lithuania or the countries that were Eastern Tech. Colonialism nest is gonna start here, and it's gonna be even more problematic, simply because it's gonna take a while for it to just move like this. For example, as you can see, 7 years have passed since it happened, and it basically just spread to like 2 of these provinces here, and it's slowly gonna spread over and over and over. It's gonna take a long time for it to spread over to this side here, basically, and you can control the spread by simply not accepting it. For example, me as Castile, I can buy some time and do not actually spread the what's it called, the stop the spread of the institution, so that they are gonna not take it fast enough, basically. Right, and France is not gonna take it fast enough, and they're gonna take some bad juju to their bad juju to their tech cost, and that is good for me. And now when I actually go to max, I can just use it. Of course, you're gonna get modifiers up to store more tech if you have the current tech cost penalty. As you can see right here, you're gonna get the increasing cost. So you can actually play this to your advantage and abuse it, so that you're gonna stop the increasing technology of your enemies. The printing press in Germany, here most likely in this area here, and it's gonna spread evenly. This is one of those things that actually spread out quite evenly. It's spread quite evenly. They're gonna spread really fast to these guys here, to the East Europeans, which is gonna allow them to power up to some degree. You cannot control this, to be honest. It's really hard to control. It's most likely gonna happen in one random country. You cannot control it. Global trade power is gonna spawn most in Genoa trade node. If you're smart enough, you'll control the Genoa trade node. By then, it's just the 600s. You should be able to control the trade node in Genoa by now. The manufacturers, I'll say England, France, Italy, one of these nations, they usually have development over 20. It might also happen in the HRE, but usually in this area here, if they have enough cash to build manufactories, it will spawn there and it's gonna spread out evenly. You can control it to some degree, but it's gonna be really problematic because you don't know who has manufacturers. You can try to target those manufacturers to take them down. Again, it's doable if you actually control over all of this land here. By the 1650s, it should be possible. And the last one is probably gonna start in England. Oh, nice event. Sure, I'll take it. It's gonna start in England most likely because they have the parliament, and it's gonna start in England, most likely in London because they have the university as well, and England is gonna have that power boost to some degree in those nations. But yeah, England is gonna have a little bit of an advantage in most of the situations because the institutions are gonna spread faster to England rather than, let's say, Italy. Although Italy is gonna get her fair share, but the Ottomans are gonna be not gonna have this. These techs and these modifiers actually give us some advantage. Ooh, so this gives an advantage. Come on, man! This is gonna give us give an advantage earlier on to basically natives. Natives, what's it called? To this guys here, basically. Man, goddammit, he's big. So it's gonna give an advantage to these guys here earlier on, simply because they can get a tech at the standard stuff at the 60, at the 600, sorry, not 60, since 600 cost, which means that you can get an idea really fast. Beforehand, it would be hard for you to get an idea, as for example, not a horde, although. Oh, this is a cat. Do they have feudalism? Alright, let me have a second here. Institutions. So yeah, they have feudalism already. I don't know if they started feudalism, but I will have to check it out, to be honest. But yeah, for example, as Jianzhou, when you actually played. Okay, I'm just gonna stop. This is too annoying for me to actually take it in, to have control over it. So, for example, you're gonna start as, I don't know, Malacca. You're gonna get that that exploration tech really fast, like really fast, and you can actually expand into the Europe to some degree, and that is gonna help you, right? Expand to Europe really fast, and it's possible for you to do it. For this guys, for the Manchutars, for example, you can also get that first influence idea that is gonna give you a little bit of an oomph that is gonna help you, or even go for an admin tech. And even if it goes to that bonus for it's just 1%, 1%, you still can tech up really fast. Like, it's not gonna cost you that much to tech up, and you're gonna have a higher amount of tech to compete with the Europeans. The later it goes, the harder it's gonna be. but you're going to have that advantage early on. So I would say that the idea of institutions really help out these guys here. Basically, the non-Western guys before are really have a boost at this point in early stuff. Other than this, let's check out the modifiers for the cost, because we should have enough here to actually take the colonialism. So I need cash, so I'll take cash, and now I can impress the institution. As for the total cost, it's it actually does not say. There we go. So it's what, development multiplied by 4. So I have 263 development. It's gonna cost me 563. So it's basically double the cost of development. That is basically it. If I actually wait one more tick and it's gonna spread out in one more, the question is what's gonna happen. Still 31. It's gonna get decreased basically by how much you have, by how much development these states have. A small thing I can do is basically just increase autonomy, though it's not that it's possible to game it to increase autonomy to some province. That will actually reduce the cost of necessary development, and you can actually to some degree play with it. But if you actually embrace right now, we're gonna embrace it, we're gonna get the modifiers, and we're gonna get an increase in the spread basically. Right, so it's 24 because it's a piece of part of a state, and oh, it's not gonna give me a bonus modifier. That is quite annoying. But yeah, this means that they're gonna spread to some degree overall, and you're gonna get it. So again, you can actually abuse it to some degree so that it won't happen. I do not care. So to stop the spread of these nations from happening. Ooh, Naples not up you. But yeah, this was the talk about institutions. I know it's not that great. I do not have that much of experience in institutions. I played a little bit with it a couple of hours ago before I recorded this. I haven't played the campaign in it to actually study that much. But from what I read, this is basically the primary modifiers for the institution, and some small ways to abuse them. I'm Chevalier, and I hope you enjoy this. I really would like to hear from you. I would also want to hear questions in the comments about the institutions. Just talk about it. If you like it, if you don't, if you think Paradox made a mistake, it does increase the survival chance of the nations that are in these regions here, that are non-European. Let that be clear. It's really gonna boost up their chances. Although I do not like the spread, to be honest. It's quite low, as you can see. 14 years have passed. Basically, if you look at the spread of the institutions, 40 years have passed, and it basically just blew over to Aragon. Right, and these guys have it as well, and it's slowly gonna spread like this. But basically, they barely have Aragon right now. What? It's gonna take another 15 years to reach, 20 years to reach over to France, and maybe cross over to Italy as well. By the time it gets to England, then it gets to Poland, to let's say to Austria, it's gonna probably be the 1540s, and the next institution is gonna start. So I would really like to have a better modifier for spread, to have faster spread, to be honest, and the spread should not be abused. I'll say it again, the spread should not be abused, because right now if I want, I can actually abuse the spread to a huge margin basically, especially as Castile. I can just declare war, lower my stability, do some other bad stuff, and not allow it to basically move. Simply do not allow it to spread, and I'm gonna have a bonus intake. I mean, it's quite simple for me to do it, and it can easily be abused. So you should really try to modify this paradox if you're listening to this. But again, sorry for the rant. I'm Chevalier. I hope you enjoyed this. I would like to hear from you. I'll say it again. I like comments, I like discussions, and I hope you enjoy this. I'll see you next time. Ciao.